Welcome to News Today. In the headlines, the NPP expresses regret over Alan Tremantin's withdrawal from the party's flagbearership race while committing to conduct a comprehensive investigation into reported incidents or violations and infractions recorded at the Super Delegates Conference. We have details of a statement issued a while ago. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu inaugurates automated premix fuel dispensing and monitoring system in a bid to check the corruption issues which have long plagued the fishing industry. We'll tell you more. And on Climate Focus today, we tell you about the significance of the African Climate Summit on warming the globe. We have details plus business, sports, world news, and showbiz. Please stay with us. Let's start from politics. The NPP has expressed regret over the decision of former Trades Minister Alan Tremantin to withdraw from the party's presidential race. On Tuesday, 5th September, Mr. Tremantin announced his withdrawal from the party's flagbearership race, citing intimidation and deliberate attempts by the party to skew outcomes of the Congress in favor of one individual, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu. The decision has since generated lots of reactions from all angles in Ghana's political landscape. In an official response to his withdrawal, the NPP says it regrets the decision. This was contained in a statement shared a while ago. Let's get details from that statement. And it says the leadership of the New Patriotic Party hereby acknowledges the receipt of a letter dated September 5, 2023, signed by Honorable John Alan Tremantin on the contents therein are duly noted. We note with regret Honorable Tremantin's decision to withdraw from the upcoming presidential primaries. It is worthy to note that both the Elections Committee and the Disciplinary Committee have initiated comprehensive investigations into all reported incidents or violations and infractions that are alleged to have occurred at various voting centers during the Super Delegates election, which was held on Saturday, August 26, 2023. We wish to reassure all stakeholders and the general public and the reports of the aforementioned committees will be made readily available, and persons who may be found culpable of any wrongdoing will be held accountable. And this was signed by the General Secretary. We'll get more reactions from our correspondent Samuel Impura later, but what are the implications of Alan's withdrawal from the party's presidential race? Dr. Bernard Tutu-Boahen is a political science analyst and joins us with some thoughts on this development. Dr. Boahen, we're grateful for your time once again on News Today. How good or how bad is this move by Alan?
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to listeners. I think that the decision for Alan to resign is his personal decision. And to me, it has come as a surprise because I was expecting that he would probably give Dr. Mahamudu a run for his money on November 4th. That notwithstanding, I think that he has also indicated certain things that has affected him for him to take that decision. And I showed that from where I stand, it wasn't good reasons enough, for him to do that. Coming from, a position that any time that you feel intimidated, any time that you feel that a process is not in your favor, or it is against you, you get quick. For me, that is not good enough. I show that, yes, of course, I understand, because you look at his personality, his appearances, his communications, and all that, and you see that is that type of person who doesn't really, want to get himself involved in problems. But if you are doing this, then probably you may not be a good politician, in the sense that politics is a game. And so when people are playing games, you must also play games. Right? Again, I feel that himself and Honorable Ejako, probably, this kind of withdrawals is not good, because they could have stayed to correct the system. They could have stayed to protect the very interests that they feel they want to protect. And so, if a system is not good, and you find yourself to be a member of that system, what is your role in there? What responsibilities do you carry to ensure that you get the system, to become better and best for, posterity? I believe that the NPP didn't start to become as it is now. The NPP party started from somewhere. People actually toiled for it. And if it is your turn to also correct certain infractions in there and make the party a better party and make its democratic, foundations very strong and all that, then of course you don't just quit such processes. You need to, fight on. For me, again, exiting could have some implications on the future of his political career, unless probably he is able to do this with certain strategic lenses. Unless maybe he's telling Ghanaians that he's going to regroup, he's going to gather his arsenals very well, he's going to mobilize very well, and probably come back stronger in 2028.
But Dr. Tutu Boahen, I mean, how else could he have fought the system he claims to, be skewed against him? In which way could he have done this?
You see, I don't have any indication of the fact that he had chronicled certain mishappenings that were against him and his people, to the NPP party or the presidential election committee for redress. And if I heard you right, the response that you read from the NPP sort of indicates that certain complaints that have come to them, they have initiated, processes to address them, and that people who will be found culpable shall be dealt with. All right, that is what I'm talking about. You could have chronicled all his concerns, and then probably put it in the public domain, give it to the party. Probably, if you want to have a press conference on that, and then probably let the party know that these things are not right. From where I sit, from where you sit, I think you can also agree with me to the fact that the party had certain rules going into the special delegate conference, right? And those rules, some people actually betrayed the rules. So if it affected him, then of course he has every right to put out those concerns out there. Right.
But Dr. Tutu Boahen, you think he didn't do that? To get to this extent, I believe is because he's totally lost trust in the system to get some kind of results or reactions to what he's been complaining about.
So what I'm saying is this: as far as I am concerned, I've not seen anything in the public domain indicating that he has complained to the party. All right. Now, if he has done that, he should have even mentioned it that, yes, I did it, but I'm being frustrated. He didn't. All right. So for me, what can probably help me to also point to the fact that he has taken actions to remedy the situation, but the system is frustrating him. It's also not there for me to make reference to. Right? But my main point is this: if at every endeavor, all right, you would come up with the thing that you are being frustrated, you are being intimidated, the system is stood against you and all that, then how do you move on as a politician? That is my point. That is the question I may probably want to ask. And I feel that Alan stood a better chance, going into this election. All right, it was not a lost battle per se. It was a battle that, if the event of the special delegate didn't help, we could have regrouped. Sorry, we could have regrouped and probably strategized enough to go and then see what the chances would be for him. So I'm a bit surprised with the decisions that he has taken.
Right. Grateful for your time here. Dr. Tutu Buahini is a political analyst. Still on Alan, NPP MP for Doma East, Paul Chumberima, says the decision of Alan Tremantin to withdraw from their party's presidential primaries is disappointing. The former Trades Minister cited violence against his agents and supporters and unfair competition as the reasons. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, Paul Chumberima explained that Alan should have stayed on and fought because of his teeming supporters and even some MPs who put their careers on the line for him.
In the first place, for me, I was a bit disappointed in one of our trouble politicians in our country and to represent in our party, somebody that we look up to. Clearly, it's a personal decision and we need to respect that. However, I mean, there were a few group of people who thought, oh no, we can associate ourselves with the dreams of Honorable Alan Tremantin, and we believe that he's someone that can help this country and help our party. So I strongly believe, for the sake of those people, he could have gone through the whole process. I mean, sometimes I appreciate that. Yeah, he may have gone through. Sorry, his supporters or agents may have gone through some of challenges, but for the sake of that person, because now somebody sits somewhere and say, so if you have died, what have happened? The man doesn't care about you, but he was dying for a cause, but the cause was jettisoned along the way by the person who holds the right to the cause, which for me, I think we could have done better. But obviously, you can't say much about it. It's a personal decision. He has given reasons. He said very soon he will tell us his political decision. We are young ones. Clearly, he's an astute politician who is a very great personality that we revere a lot. So he may have a very good reason, but some of the reasons that was stated in his letter, for me, if it's that based on that, because for that agent even going to the extent of fighting with his life to make sure he protect that ballot box should have been one strength for him to say, okay, listen, regardless of whatever it is, let's go through to the end.
Meanwhile, speculation is right that Alan Tremantin could decide to run as independent presidential candidate in the 2024 election, a move analysts say will spell doom for the NPP. But the MP believes Alan will stick with the NPP in their efforts to break the 8.
In Ghana, we are actually looking for the third force to come. We are waiting for the third force. I don't know who is going to bring it. I don't see the third force in 2024 elections. The third force is not in 2024 elections. So our advice, and I know, it's not our advice, I know for a fact that Honorable Alan Tremantin will not do that. That will not happen. I can confidently tell you that he is not going to go independent or anything. Never, he will not do that. But we are waiting for the third force for this country.
Meanwhile, stakes are high and tension is building among camps of the remaining aspirants as the party prepares for its National Congress in November. Today, the positions on the ballots will be determined, a critical step in the build-up to the final decide on who leads the party in the 2024 general election. My colleague Samuel Mbura is at the party's headquarters and joins us live with updates. Samuel, what can you report about the process?
We can report that the balloting exercise hasn't begun. However, we have all the members of the Elections Committee currently in a meeting with the Electoral Commission on how the issues will be sorted out before the balloting. But we have two of the aspirants that have come here for the balloting by themselves. We have Kennedy Japan and Dr. Akoto. The remaining two we know is the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu, and then that of Azaidimo. So what we can report is that the exercise hasn't begun, but there's a big meeting ahead of that balloting.
Well, Mbura, before you go, have any of the aspirants been reacting to the withdrawal of Mr. Alan Tremantin?
Well, I approached Dr. Akoto for his comments on it, but he assured me that after the meeting and the balloting, he will definitely grant an interview. But at the party headquarters here, it's somehow a mixed reaction about the withdrawal of Alan Tremantin from the race. Others hold the view that his decision is in the right direction. Others also are of the view that he should have continued because going out of the race now will communicate a sense of failure by he and his team. They think that continue. But the snippets of information we are also gathering is that some of the aspirants are also likely to follow suit. But as to which aspirants, we cannot tell for now. We are still following our sources as that unfolds.
Thank you very much. Samuel Mbura is a man on the ground at the NPP headquarters. Still on politics, but this time to the NDC camp, where former President John Mahama is demanding the Electoral Commission publish names, pictures of persons recruited to undertake the upcoming limited voter registration exercise. Further, he wants the EC to disclose the number of workstations deployed for the exercise from Tuesday, September 12 to Monday, October 2, 2023. The Electoral Commission will open the voter register for the registration of new voters ahead of the district-level elections. The EC is hoping to register over 1.3 million new voters by the close of the registration this year. The former president, who is the NDC's presidential candidate for the 2024 election, also wants the EC to reconsider the decision to hold the registration to only district offices. In a social media broadcast, the former president accused the Akufo-Addo administration of running down the country. Here are excerpts of his briefing. As we prepare to bring you that tape, former President John Mahama is demanding the Electoral Commission to publish names, pictures of persons recruited to undertake the upcoming limited voter registration exercise. And he also wants the EC to disclose the number of workstations deployed for the exercise from Tuesday, September 12 to Monday, October 2nd. Now, the EC will open the voters register for the registration. Let's now hear excerpts from that media briefing.
Grappling with a severe economic crisis, more than ever before, the lives of our people today are defined by a daily struggle to eke out a living. We're seeing our daily cost of living skyrocket, and job opportunities are becoming more difficult by the day. Our people, the youth, the elderly, drivers, market women, civil servants, security personnel, teachers, journalists, nurses, and doctors are all experiencing a sense of hopelessness on a scale never witnessed in recent memory. This dire situation calls for urgent action, and the most powerful tool at our disposal is our right to vote. President Akufo-Addo and his administration have failed to address the pressing economic challenges they have exerted on the people of our country, misapplying our precious, scarce resources and overspending on their creature comforts and largesse instead of building the critical infrastructure this country needs for job creation and development. Their promises during their campaigns have not been fulfilled, leaving the ordinary Ghanaian burdened with the consequences of their incompetence, cluelessness, and shameless arrogance. Today, some Ghanaians glorify and make excuses for corruption because the NPP has allowed it to permeate every facet of our society. This must never be accepted as the norm. It hinders progress on many fronts, denying our youth of opportunities that should have come their way if state resources were meaningfully applied. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford to let this dire state of affairs continue.
In a move that could potentially reshape Ghana's fishing industry, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu has officially inaugurated the automated premix fuel dispensing and monitoring system. The pioneering project is poised to tackle corruption, diversion, and logistical challenges that have plagued the supply and distribution of premix fuel, ushering in a new era of transparency, efficiency, and accountability. Commissioning the project at Elmina, Vice President explained how the system would empower fisherfolk to directly access the precise quantity of premix fuel they require at fuel pumps. Head of our Greek and Maritime Desk, Richard Kojonyako, has more on this report.
For generations, the rhythmic songs of Ghanaian fishermen have echoed along the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. As the sun paints the sky with hues of orange and gold, these hard-working men cast their net into the deep blue sea, a practice that has sustained their community for ages. With time, many of the fisherfolk drifted away from the casting of nets to the use of outboard motors that requires fuel to propel their movements. The introduction of premix fuel that's supposed to be a blessing turned into their worst nightmares as hoarding, corruption, and smuggling took center stage.
You had protocol distributions and a takeover, essentially by politicians of either party over the process of the distribution of premix. And so you had shortages, you had black market activity, diversion, and kalabuli in the behavior of the industry. This is a
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu speaking at the inauguration of the premix automation and monitoring system at Elmina. This revolutionary process is facilitated through personalized canoe identification cards which store essential biodata and are linked to individual vessels. This groundbreaking approach eliminates the need for intermediaries and middlemen, a common bottleneck in the previous supply chain. The Vice President believes automating the process of accessing the premix fuel bodes well for both government and the fisherfolk.
The integration of such cutting-edge technology promises to put an end to the persistent issue of hoarding, which has cast a shadow on the fishing industry for far too long. By ensuring accurate and transparent tracking, the automated premix fuel dispensing and monitoring system will guarantee that premix fuel reaches its intended recipients without delay and leveling the playing field for all stakeholders involved. We are resolute in our commitment to overcome any attempts at fraud, diversion, or illicit activities within the supply chain. Through real-time monitoring of fuel levels and transactions, we shall foster an environment of trust and integrity wherein suppliers and consumers can partake in a fair and just system.
Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Mavis Howard Kumasi, indicates the number of landing beaches the automation process is going to be done at.
There are 300 landing beaches and as a landing sites. Now 300, you know, Saturday I make say 50 na year cry. We are also on various stages. When you say a contractor, any consultant, I'm a trade, you know, no, and mra, your person, your baby. Now a fire for when your premise for Edia ye or my juma, a fari juma.
Central Regional Minister Justina Marigodasan prevailed on the fisher folk to make maintenance of the facility a priority.
As much as we appreciate its initiative from the government, I wish to appeal to Nananum and the management of the facility to diligently take care of this project to adequately serve our fishing communities. I know somebody would say the maintenance culture. The project is so beautiful, the colors are carefully chosen. We pray and hope that by next year when we come here, we'll see this beautiful edifice as we came to commission it.
With smiles beaming on their faces, the commissioning was done to officially grant them access to the use of the automation and monitoring system. With this innovation, Ghana's fishing industry stands on the brink of a significant transformation as the system not only streamlines fuel distribution but also fosters a more equitable environment for all those engaged in this vital sector. Richard Kwejo, Joy News, Elmina.
Africa's voice on climate change has been elevated this week in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. The UN Africa Climate Week is holding alongside the inaugural Africa Climate Summit under the theme Green Growth and Climate Finance for Africa and the World. On Climate Focus, Kofi Edudomfe reports on the commitments to deliver concrete action for Africa.
Voices of grassroots groups and climate activists high in Nairobi this week. They are holding leaders to account to deliver concrete climate action and plans to address the continent's pressing needs. The African youth also say they no longer want to be observers. Elizabeth Wathuti represents the African Youth Climate Assembly.
As representatives of the African Youth Climate Assembly, to underscore the urgency of addressing climate change and its profound impact on Africa's youth. Our African Declaration reflects our commitment to harness the power of our youth to drive meaningful change. The African Youth Climate Assembly's vision is rooted in inclusivity, resilience, innovation, and the conviction that young people are one of the biggest resources that Africa is endowed with. We seek to elevate youth participation and inclusion in climate governance, forging pathways towards sustainable development and green growth. And we urge you, our esteemed leaders, to join hands with us in this endeavor.
The reality of the climate crisis has dawned on Africa, a continent that has both a stake and interest in solving the climate change challenge. Africa faces severe climate-related challenges, including drought, desertification, wildfires, floods, and increasing cyclones, leading to displacement, migration, and food crisis. It has been estimated the continent loses up to 15% of its GDP per capita annually due to the impacts of climate change. The Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi, Kenya has focused on delivering climate-positive growth and financing solutions for Africa and the world.
Star Ghana Foundation is boasting of executing 8 projects worth £15 million in its 5 years of operations. The initiatives, according to their CSO, has enabled the foundation to engage 70 partners across the country to implement various development-centered projects. The foundation believes it has largely achieved its objective of promoting active citizenship in the country's democratic and governance process as a result of this feat. The executive director of the foundation, Alhaji Amidu Ibrahim Tanko, made the remarks at the launch of Star Ghana's 5th anniversary in Tamale in the northern region. Martina Bukri reports.
Foundation works towards the development of a well-informed civil society able to contribute to transformational national development and inclusive access to high-quality, accountable public service for all Ghanaians. Over the years, the foundation has partnered many institutions to create platforms for ordinary people to become active citizens who demand positive change in their lives and communities. Speaking at the launch of its 5 years of existence in Tamale, Alhaji Amidu Ibrahim Tanko said the foundation is currently working with over 70 partners.
The Star Ghana program ended in September 2020, and that was the end of the donor funding for Star. So the only program that we had, the only project, was a £200,000 FCG project. And when you hear 200,000 and say, hey, this is big money, but we are allowed just 15% of the 200,000 for overheads. Everything else has to go into the project. And so imagine managing the Star Ghana program with a staff strength of, I think we have about 38. And then you wake up one morning and have staff strength of 7 people. You wonder, where are you going? So the fact that we have survived, the fact that from one project of £200,000, we now have 10 projects that are approximately almost £15 million. Over 70 partners across the length and breadth of Ghana. And unlike the past, where the majority of our partners were the big CSOs and NGOs in the urban areas, 90% of these over 70 partners are very, very small organizations.
You're still watching Joy News Today. We break for business.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The International Advertising Association's Africa Rising Conference is open in Accra. The conference, which hosts some of Africa's most influential marketing communications professionals, is deliberating on how brands can leverage artificial intelligence, sustainability, and other key areas in delivering value. Here's more in this report.
The opening of the 6th edition of the Africa Rising Conference played host to some of the most influential marketing communication professionals from across Africa of the world. This year's edition is themed Building Future-Ready Brands. It will focus on how brands can take advantage of emerging global trends such as artificial intelligence, ESGs, and other key areas that will influence the growth of businesses across the continent. The Minister for Communications, Kojo Opon-Kroma, called for reforms in the public sector to project brand Ghana.
Innovation must be at the heart of public service delivery. Our institutions must make innovation and forward thinking the norm and not the exception. The story that says that this is how we do it in this organization must give way to the new story of this is how we ought to do it to be future ready. This is why the recent innovation and digitization of public services represents such a breath of fresh air, and we must all embrace it. It's also why those who resist innovation and fresh ideas in public service must be moved to make way for the forward thinkers who are keen to build future ready brands.
Vice President of IAA Africa, Norco Dia, urged businesses to leverage emerging technologies to deliver utmost value for consumers.
Well, at the moment, it is the new thing. It is a new in. And I think it leverages on whatever is happening. And it's for us as as industry practitioners to understand the dynamics and its impact on us. So today, for the 2 days, we're going to delve into it. We're going to hear from global perspectives, how it has impacted businesses, for us to also understand what Africa is up to and how we can dovetail into it as we think about building our future-ready brands.
The president of the Advertising Association of Ghana, Andrew Aka, urged African leaders to create the enabling environment to foster the growth of African brands.
This paradigm shift can only happen when leadership on the continent has a deep faith in the vision of the incredible prospects on the continent. Our governments will need to unquestionably play a central role. Creative thinkers, stir up entrepreneurial spirit of small businesses, and lead with courage. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AFTA, has set the pathway for this to happen. Let us get to work.
The 2-day conference, which will be held at the Kempinski Hotel, will host various presentations from seasoned marketing and brand experts from across the world.
Now, entrepreneurs have been entreated to devise strategies in adapting to changes in their business environment and rebound after they experience adverse situations. Founder of investment firm Done by Us Ghana, King Wellington, explains that entrepreneurs should take keen interest in capacity building initiatives to support the operations. He spoke to Joy Business at a pitch competition of the African Street MBA Accelerator Program.
Street MBA program is a special entrepreneurship initiative designed to provide integrated business supports for startups through capacity building, mentorship, business development services, and funding for young entrepreneurs. A total of 15 accelerators pitched the ideas to a panel of judges for a grand prize and a business development roadmap. Speaking at the event, Chief Executive Officer of the African Street MBA, A. Wellington, said the organization sees the need to support SMEs economically to cushion them for the competitive market globally through monitoring programs.
Now, Africa Street MBA seeks to empower young businesses, entrepreneurs from poor background and those with low education, give them opportunity by deepening their knowledge when it comes to business management. And of course, that's why you see the name has street in there. And the MBA in there has to do with the fact that we are training them based on top MBA.
In all, 4 entrepreneurs came tops and obtained financial assistance from the African Street MBA after pitching their business for support. Raman Samira and Patricia Benemba are first and second runners-up of the competition.
In my pitch, I wanted to be the leading exporter of Ghanaian branded smokes, kente, and then beaded products. That dream will come true.
Yes, competing globally and looking at markets, looking at how to get it out there. I'm sure with the help of the social media rebranding, my business will go out there. Yes.
Speaking to the media after being adjudged winner of the competition, Nicholas Donko, an IT specialist, said his disability was never an obstacle. He further disclosed that the Africa Street MBA will help his IT company provide IT training and employment for the youth in the area.
And that's it for business. The news continues after the break.
Let's do sports now on JoyNews Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. The Black Stars is currently in Kumasi, wrapping up preparations for its final AFCON qualifier against Central African Republic. The match is expected to take place at the Babayara Sports Stadium. Joseph Pencil of Genk, he's pulled out of the game due to an injury he suffered against Anderlecht last weekend. Also, Jordan Ayew sat out of the team's training session at the Babayara Sports Stadium on Tuesday. My colleague Steve Zando of Laugh FM has a rest in this report.
So the Black Stars of Ghana have finally arrived in Kumasi, and of course on Thursday, the Black Stars will be playing Central African Republic in the 2023 AFCON qualifier. This will be the last game for the qualifiers, and Ghana needs to avoid a defeat to qualify for the tournament that will be staged in Ivory Coast next year. Now, yesterday the Stars ended, the day with 23 players, but the good news for Ghanaians is that Richard Ofori and Jordan Ayew have joined their teammates, and of course they were part of the players that arrived in Kumasi. Unfortunately, Jordan Ayew could not be part of today's training session that was held at the Flagbearer Sports Stadium, and according to my checks, the coach decided to take some precautionary measure because the player did not arrive on time in camp. So tomorrow he'll be part of the players that will be training ahead of the crucial encounter on Thursday. Training session held behind closed doors, and then of course the team, the players were taking through a lot of tactical works. They worked on set pieces, shooting, and what have you. It is expected that tomorrow the training session will be open to the media for the first 15 minutes, where pressmen will be allowed inside the Flagbearer Sports Stadium to cover the first 15 minutes of the session, after which the coach will go through the tactical works with the players once again for the game on Thursday here at the Flagbearer Sports Stadium at exactly 4 p.m. Reporting from the Flagbearer Sports Stadium for Joy Sports, Steve Zamno.
The Black Bombers have left the shores of the country to Dakar, Senegal, to participate in the AFCON qualifiers for the next Olympics to be staged in Paris. The team, before leaving the shores of the country, met the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Youssef, and he's charged them to fly high the flag of the country.
Anytime I visit the boxers, bombers, I feel like I'm at home. Like the MC mentioned, I've been with you from day one. Before we went to Tokyo, and even before Commonwealth Games, anytime, because my passion for boxing is something that I cannot describe. And that is why I've been watching sets. And I have to thank you for coming all the way from the US to come and represent Ghana.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next is World News.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews Today. Now, many fans may not have expected this, but the leader of the movement has announced an album is finished. 2 years have passed since the release of his project, Medina, to the universe, but Manifest has for the first time revealed that everything is set for the release of a new one.
Personally, I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm wondering if the God MC is still the God MC.
Well, first of all, I'm not the boss. I am part of a camaraderie that exists. But we're inside. I think artists like myself, we bide our time, and when we bring forth something, we do. We're not bound by a schedule.
Okay, that makes sense. But it looks like, it doesn't look like. I am thinking that there's pressure to, bring out something from the fans. Obviously, the first call is the fans, the people that you make the music for. So
I'll give you exclusive. It's easy. For instance, an album is finished. Ready to come out, but I think I'm not a new artist anymore. So what the requirement of how to make things go on the next level is different. So beyond making the music, which I do all the time, it's sort of strategically moving in ways to make it resonate on some level. So but I've been active. That's the thing. Even when I don't release music, I'm active. You might see me with Hennessy in New York. You might see me in this and the third. I'm active, but I love the idea of being able to draw back and then having a body of work and then figuring out how to make it resonate the most. Because if it's just about releasing songs, then other people, we all record and do great things. So, I'm good. I think everything is going swimmingly well.
Meanwhile, Manifest says he despises the unwarranted of Ghana and Nigeria music industry against themselves. According to him, African artists have a common continental goal to push their music globally.
That's where you lost me with these comparisons. Like, we have a Pan-African movement moving now, and that's very important. We are a very integral part of a Pan-African movement moving now that's going global. And to see ourselves as like in competition with other people who are part of us, I don't want to be cost 90 in my regard. My regard is like we have to have a consideration of figuring out how to make this thing bigger than creatively and commercially. But commercially comes with strategy. But strategically, how can we make this thing?
On that note, we end Showbiz here on JoyNews Today.
Thank you, Becky, and I think Manifest brings the conversation home for me, but we're grateful. Thank you for bringing us Showbiz. We also had business and sports. For more news, John, log on to myjoyonline.com. And from us here, have a good afternoon.